So Alabama moves on to College Station to play Texas A&M today. And the big news out of College Station is that for the second game in a row, they will be without leading guard Wade Taylor. And this is obviously for anyone that's followed A&M or has followed SEC basketball for a while. This is obviously really, really big because Wade Taylor leads Texas A&M, and I was going to pull up his stats right now. He leads A&M from scoring and is really just their do-everything guy, right? He currently leads them in points and assists. He averages 15.7 points, 4.8 assists, is a 90% free throw shooter, 33% three-point shooter. He's not a super efficient guy. That's the thing that everybody talks about when you look at Wade Taylor. He takes a lot of shots, but Wade Taylor also is that guy where there have been games where he could take over the game and really just put the team on his back. The concern that I have when you look at A&M without Wade Taylor is where does the offense come from outside of the offensive rebound, right? Now, they are going to get some offensive rebounds, right? This is the best offensive rebounding team in the entire country. They will get offensive rebounds. And I think when you say best in the country, you need to put that into perspective, right? Currently, A&M is number one in the country in offensive rebound percentage at 44.5%. For reference, Tennessee is 11th at 38.5%, right? So they are 6 percentage points below, and they're 11th. Alabama's 18th, and we're at 37.5%, right? So that 6-point percentage is actually the difference in 116th, right? From A&M to Tennessee is the same from Tennessee to 116th, right? So A&M is just so incredibly good at the offensive rebounding game, right? They are almost 3 points better than second place, right? This is a historically good offensive rebounding team. This is what Buzz Williams is, right? When you look at Buzz Williams and you look at a Buzz Williams coach team, they may not be very efficient from a shooting perspective, but they absolutely crash the glass. They will bully you on the glass, and if you do not watch out, they can beat you because of that, right? And I think that's what you need to note when you look at A&M, because the shooting stats are not gonna wow you, right? They're shooting 31, just over 31% from three, just over 50% from two, 70% from the line. Their effective field goal percentage is under 50. They turn over the ball a little bit. But the big difference is they get their own rebounds. And it doesn't matter, as Nate says, it doesn't matter how efficient you are on your first shot when you get two more, right? Because at a 44% rate, almost one for every two, they're getting their rebound. So how to play against this team is simply put either one of two things. You either have to, I don't want to say one of two. You need to crash the glass, obviously, but you also need to know that they're going to get rebounds. And Nate talked about this in his press conference. This team will get rebounds. They're going to get offensive rebounds. You're not going to keep them off the glass the whole game. It's just not going to happen. Nate goes, we play against teams that are really bad offensive rebounding teams. They're still going to get a couple, right? That's how basketball works. Inevitably, you're going to get a couple. The fact that they get the offensive rebound is not the problem. You still have to play good defense, right? At the end of the day, the offensive rebound does not count for points. It just gives them another possession. So as long as your defense does not break down on your second possession or your third possession when they get the ball and get a second and third chance, then you're okay, right? And I think that's what, if Alabama can lock into the defensive scouting report, I think that's the place where Alabama can actually be successful in this game. Because without Wade Taylor, if you can keep if they have to catch the offensive rebound and really go back into the flow of their offense, they can't just get the rebound and go straight back up with it. I think Alabama has a very good chance at playing defense and keeping A&M from scoring, right? As well as scoring enough on our offensive end that they have to press a little more, right? Because if A&M starts having to take three-pointers, you get longer rebounds, and that's a less likelihood of A&M getting the ball. They're not a three-point shooting team. That's just not who they are. And that's something that you have to look at. When you look at the game against Oklahoma, right? So, and that's the other thing that we'll note. And it's interesting because this early in the season, Oklahoma has played 15 games. 5 of those games have been against common opponents with Alabama. They've already played Oklahoma, which obviously Alabama just played. They've already played Rutgers and Creighton and Oregon and Purdue, right? This is a team that has played multiple of the same teams that we've played. The reason this is really important, obviously, is you can look and see what the teams that we've played did successfully because we've actually seen them close up. You can see what they didn't do successfully, and you can see what would or would not work against a team like A&M. And I think that that's going to be really, really helpful coming into this game. Obviously, completely different from the standpoint of in all of those games against Oklahoma, they did have Wade Taylor. So I think that when you're looking at how to defend A&M, you have to also, take that into consideration. But I do think that, that is a data point that you can look at for this game. When you're looking at this game also, I think that the thing that Alabama just has to do is sit down and defend. Simply put. I think this is going to be a big game for Mohamoud Diabate. I think this is going to be a big game for Darian Reed. I think this is going to be very similar to like our Houston game, right? From a physicality standpoint and a rebounding standpoint, I think you're going to have to fight on the glass similar to how you did against Houston. I think that's going to be one of your most important things from a rebounding standpoint, and it's going to be to, win it all possible to get your rebounds and to keep guys like Anderson Garcia off the glass. Guys like Solomon Washington, Henry Coleman, these guys that Alabama fans, they've played A&M the last few years. You know the names. They've been the same guys for the last couple of years. They're all incredible rebounders. And they are a Buzz Williams coach team, simply put, right? At times, Nate has struggled playing against Buzz Williams. I know most recently, Alabama did win against A&M 100-75 last season. And then the season before that, Alabama wins the SEC title over A&M in Nashville. So Alabama obviously, and Nate and Buzz Williams have a lot of experience against each other. This is not a situation where this team is going to throw something at us that we've never seen before. Buzz Williams coach teams are Buzz Williams coach teams, right? You know what you get out of them. And so I think that this is a situation where if our guys can lock into the scouting report, if our guys can lock into what they have to do, and also if our guys can understand that even if you get up in this game, you have to keep fighting. And the reason I say that, Oklahoma led the game against A&M fairly large, actually. Let me see if I can pull up the actual lead they had at one point. At one point, Oklahoma leads this game 32-20, 30-16. So it looks like they had about a 14-point lead. At half, the lead was 9. Then it balloons up to about a 15-point lead, 51-36, with about 17 minutes to go. A&M ends up, coming back, winning the game, and ends up coming back, taking the lead, winning the game. And they do it on the back of their rebounding, right? The thing we talked about at the beginning. This last game, they get 47% of their offensive rebounds, right? They get 17 offensive rebounds compared to just 8 for Oklahoma, right? Now, we do know Oklahoma is not a good rebounding team, right? So Oklahoma is a bit of an anomaly. We saw that when Alabama played Oklahoma. But Alabama has to fight to keep them off the glass. And if you get a lead, you start making shots, you get a lead, you have to pretend that the game is 0-0 because their ability to get rebounds can shorten that gap so quickly, right? Oklahoma really felt like they relaxed when they got up so much, and it likely cost them the game, right? Oklahoma has Bryson Gooden go 9 of 11 from 3. Just absolutely blazing from 3. 9 of 11. They shoot 58% from 3, and they lose this game. And again, they lost this game in large part, partially due to Zurich Phelps, the other guard for A&M, in Wade Taylor's absence. They're now leading scorer for the game, or for the season, if Taylor's out. Phelps has 34 points, right? So he's obviously a huge reason. He goes 6 of 10 from 3. But the other reason is, simply put, A&M just pounded them on the glass, right? So that's what Alabama has to pay attention to, and that's the reason why Nate Oates has been preaching it in every game this season, is if you get a lead, you have to put the team away, because you're going to get up against teams like this that can make you pay if you don't, right? So that's the big thing that you have to note when you're looking at this game is, can Alabama put a team away if they get up, right? Also, can Alabama defend on that second and third chance if A&M gets the rebound? Because again, the rebound does not equal points. And Nate's going to preach that all day. He's been preaching it all week. The rebound isn't points. They still have to go up and score, right? So just keep your defense solid and it will be okay. And then lastly can Alabama make shots? Because again, if you watch that Oklahoma game with how A&M and Buzz Williams like to gamble from a defensive perspective, there's going to be open threes. There will be. There's going to be some open shots that are available in this game. Can Alabama hit them? If Alabama can hit the open shots when they're made available to them, if Alabama can take care of the basketball, right, not let the defense of A&M get into you and get you flustered, and if Alabama can make the open shot when they've been made available, Alabama should be able to win this game, even in College Station. I do think this is going to be a very close game, and I think that because of A&M's rebounding, right? I do think that Alabama, if you had to tell me one team is going to win by 10, I think that I would go with Alabama. But if you had to have me wager, I think that this is a 5-point game or less, just due to how well A&M can rebound and how good their defense is. I know they don't have Wade Taylor, but there's something about the rebounding that just kind of cures all. And, if you tell me that Phelps has a really bad shooting night and Alabama wins kind of going away, sure, I would definitely believe that. But I think that it's not something I would rely on if you're having to have me pick this game. So I think that this game is going to be a score. Let me go somewhere like 82-77, maybe. Like I said, I think that A&M is going to be able to obviously rebound the ball. I think that Alabama, having faced Houston and having faced some other teams similar to this earlier this season already, is going to know who they need to play and how it's going to, guys like Modi and what it's going to take to be able to beat a team like this. Obviously, how this game is called may also impact the game slightly, because when you're getting really physical going after rebounds, if the refs are calling it really ticky-tacky, it could lead to a lot of free throws in this game. Ideally, that they let them play, and this is like an Alabama-Houston game, and it doesn't get up into a crazy amount of free throws. But just be warned that if the refs try to insert themselves into this game, it definitely could be. So that's what I'll say. Like I said, I'm going to give it an 82-77 final score, and I think that Alabama does win. I think Alabama starts 3-0 in conference, and Alabama gets ready to play Ole Miss in Coleman Coliseum on Tuesday. So that's what I have. That's what I wanted to talk about. I'm actually